basketball head coach Shea Ralph, Ayanna Moore, and Michaela Blakes. We will open the floor open for questions for players first, and then we will take questions for Coach Ralph. We'll start with Ayanna Moore, Vandy Sports. Go ahead.
Michaela, talking to you after your first game, you said you were a little bit nervous. Are you feeling a lot more comfortable now?
Yeah, definitely. Just getting some practices in the gym and then just having some more home games. It's good.
Iyana, how are you feeling now after dealing with, the back issue for the last couple games?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Just continuing to do rehab, continuing to take it day by day, just make sure I'm paying attention to everything that I'm feeling, and I felt great.
Can you talk a little bit about what it means to you to win SEC Freshman of the Week?
I think it's just a testament to my hard work and then just having supportive teammates and coaches around me. I think they just give me so much confidence that I can be a good player. So just playing like that and then just being able to produce is good.
Brandon Bigley, Vandy Sports. Go ahead.
Mikayla, season high 8 assists for you tonight. What do you feel like helped you to really set your teammates up so well in this game?
I think just slowing down a little bit. I think the first couple of games I was a little sped up just because it's college, playing at a different pace. But I think just being able to see my teammates and then going over the scout, seeing the open player, it translated.
Aria, that's here.
Yeah, either of you, I guess. What was the difference between the first quarter and then the rest of the game for y'all?
I feel like when we came out in the second quarter, we got in a huddle and we talked about, let's really hone in on the details and what we really need to do. It starts with communication, effort. And once we start celebrating each other, then the game just really turns around. We start picking each other up, lifting each other, making sure we're talking, celebrating each other's success, little small success, and it just turned into a really big, successful game.
Any more questions for the players? All right, thank you. Congratulations.
And she's not a good player. She's a great player.
Thank you, Iyana. You too.
Aww. All right, I'll see you guys later.
Will you?
Yeah, I will. Maybe. Never say never. Not off.
Got game Friday.
Definitely not off. Definitely not. And they know it too.
All right, we will go ahead and take Coach Ralph's opening statement, and then we'll open the floor for questions. So, Coach, what are your thoughts after tonight's win over Hampton?
I think these games, even though I hate them as a coach, where you see kind of the best of your team at times, and certainly in the first quarter, the worst, I think they're good for us in that it sometimes takes those moments for the players to understand how to prepare, how to communicate on the court, how to step up and help each other. That's the beauty of basketball because it is a team game. It's also the beauty of preparation. Because I think if you prepare the right way, then the margin for error isn't as razor thin in really competitive games. Does that make sense? So I don't think about, and I told them this morning, I'll tell them this every game for the rest of the season. I don't think about playing Hampton today. I think about what's the best possible Vanderbilt team that we can be today. Where are our gaps? How can we fill them in practice? How can I see us improve when we play the next game and the next game? Because my vision for our team is always what happens, and I told them this at halftime, what happens if we play like we did in the first quarter in the first game of the NCAA tournament or in the Sweet 16 or one day, hopefully very soon, in the Final Four. And you guys are going to look at me on the bench and ask for a solution, but I don't have the solution. That's what practice is for. So you prepare so you can perform at a very high level in highly competitive games. And that's what championship teams do. So I think now as we've gotten better, our program has gotten better. We have more pieces this year. We have better players. We have higher expectations. These are the things our players need to learn now. Because had we played an SEC game today, and credit to Hampton because they came out and threw punches. Credit to them, seriously. I know it's her first year. She's doing a great job. But I told them, had we played an SEC opponent today, we would have been down by 20 after that first quarter. And to me, that's unacceptable. And that's not anything other than preparing the right way, focus, and discipline. So I'm not trying to make a win or loss. I'm very proud of how they responded. And I told them that too. But I told you guys the first game of the season, my expectations are very high. And so when I think about all the great things we did today, I will continue to lift my players up, build their confidence, and tell them those things. But I will also shine the light on the things that I know will get will hurt us the most down the stretch, knowing that we've prepared years and years. Some of them, this is their last year. And you don't want to go into that game feeling unprepared and knowing that you could have done more to be ready for that moment, knowing that you could have communicated more, worked more, had more discipline, had more focus. It is my job as a coach to make sure that we fill those gaps. So while I will commend them on the things they do well, I will always shine the light. I will always hold the mirror up. Hey, that first quarter was unacceptable. It was unacceptable to me. I'm glad we were able to turn it around, so that's why I think that today was a good game for us. Hopefully we'll be able to use it as a stepping stone moving forward, especially Friday and then obviously going into next week on the road, 2 big games.
We'll go ahead and open the floor for questions. We'll start with Ayanna Moore, VandySports.com. Go ahead.
Oh, what was your conversation like between that first quarter and second quarter? You guys went on a 17-0 run in that second quarter, and also at halftime as well. I mean, you guys didn't let Hampton score their first basket until 5 minutes in that third quarter.
It was much of what I just told you, but with more colorful language. I'm not a big cursor, but I do give. I'm not the only coach on our staff, so you guys will see my coaches coaching individuals. You'll see them in the huddles. It's important to me that they have the ability to do that because I have a really well-seasoned, experienced staff. My husband runs our defense, Coach Tom. He was not happy. I'm not sure if you guys saw him in that timeout that he told me to call, and then he ran it. So, and I have a lot of respect for what he does defensively, as do our players and the rest of our staff. But we take that personally, and I want our players to take it personally too. I want them to take it personally when people score on us. I know that sounds ridiculous, but if people have to work that hard to score on us, then it doesn't matter what kind of offensive night we have. We'll have a chance against any team in the country. If they can score 21 points in the first, come on. That can't happen. It was unacceptable, and he let him know, and then I let him know at halftime. And then they did the work to turn it around, which I'm very proud of them for, and they should be proud of themselves.
Hey, go ahead. Hey,
Mikayla Blake just looks more and more comfortable every game. What is it about her that makes her so special?
When you guys watch her play, what do you see? You guys watch her. What else?
She's really quick.
Composure, fearlessness, maturity beyond her years. In the locker room after the game, I've been doing this thing where I let them shout out each other. Like just kind of give, I like to see if they're paying attention. Like, what are you paying attention to? It's also a way for people to see the good in themselves through their teammates' eyes and through our coaches' eyes. And I think it's been really good for us. And Mikayla got a shout out because if you look at the plus 47 is absolutely ridiculous. But the crazy thing is, it just about looks this way on her stat line every single game we play. So is she skilled? Yes, very. Is she talented? Yes, very. Very athletic, very quick. But she is a dog. She is fearless. She's a competitor. And the way she plays every day is the way she practices. So what I know that most people don't, and because I've had the benefit of being at the Disney World of college women's basketball for half my life, pretty much, which I think they had a really big night tonight, and congrats to them. But the best players in the world, and I've coached several of them, I've been very blessed, they practice and play like that. Do you know what I mean? There's a different intention, there's a different focus. So this stuff is not surprising. She makes stuff that's really, really hard to do look really easy. But the best players in the world that I've coached, and I'm not trying to compare her to them because she's very different, but her intangible qualities are very, very, very similar. So to me, she's just scratching the surface. What makes her special? It's that. It's that. All the other stuff, obviously, gifted and talented, and she works hard to hone her skills. But there's something inside that kid she's not going to be denied. She wants to be great at everything she does, and I can't coach that. She has it.
Ayanna Moore, Vandy Sports.
To follow up, I mean, you're giving Mikayla really high praise, and even though she's just a freshman, do you think that some of the other girls have learned things from her already?
Yes. Yes, they have. I think she's elevated the competitiveness in practice. I think she's elevated our IQ in terms of just different plays that she'll make. that other players are starting to recognize now. I think she's elevated our belief. Like, hey, shit, we could be pretty good, you know? And our engine and all the things. I mean, it's exciting to play in a team sport with players like her and Ayanna and Maddie Green and they're all different, but they all bring something really cool to the party. And what Mikayla brings is a crucial piece that we haven't had since we've been here. And all the things that I just talked to you guys about. We haven't had it, and we don't have to beg her to do it. She just shows up and does it every day. And it fits perfectly into the puzzle that we're trying to create now to be a powerhouse program. And like you guys said, she just got here. She's been here for like 10 minutes. She just got here. She's a freshman. So hopefully she'll continue to build confidence in herself, which I think she's doing. Her teammates will continue to put her on a pedestal and let her know that they believe in her. And she'll just continue to play freely. I want her to play freely. As long as she gives me effort and energy and all the things, I'm going to live with the other stuff. Because she's fearless. And I know if she's out on the floor, we have a chance.
Camille Pierre had a double-double tonight. What makes her such an efficient scorer and rebounder?
Well, she's supremely gifted and talented and athletic. I think one of the things that has become really important to her, which I'm happy for her and for us, is rebounding. She seems to be making a much greater effort on every possession to go get the rebound with two hands. And I think a lot of times, especially early on in the season, later in the season last year, I felt like she made huge improvements, right? Early in the season, she would stand around a lot on defense or on offense, and I think she's gotten more comfortable with her versatility and her movement and some of the things that we're asking her to do. And because now we have pieces on the floor that can spread out the floor for her, she has more space to operate, right? So now she's operating more freely in that lane line area, in the dunker spots, up in the high post area, which is very lethal for a player like her who can score so many different ways. And then when the ball goes up on the rim, she's like a missile. She just goes after it. And so I love that she's showing that now, because I feel like the more she gets comfortable doing those things, by the time we get to January, she's going to be really tough to deal with because we're going to be able to put her all over the floor. And then when the ball goes up on the rim, they're going to need 2 or 3 people to box her out because she's so agile and so athletic. But I think she's starting to get an understanding, too, of where her shots can come from. So most of her shots are really good ones for her. And she makes tough shots. So most of them are in those spots that she's comfortable with, which I also think is different this year than it was early in last year. She made huge improvements.
All right, Nassim, go ahead.
Yeah, do you have an update on Sasha Washington's status?
Yeah, not completely. That's a good question. I do think in the next couple of days, we'll be putting out a statement so that everybody can we're just following up on a couple of things, but we'll be putting out a statement in the next couple of days, so you guys will hear from us directly. Okay.
Brandon Bisbee, any sports?
You referenced the 21 points allowed in the first quarter, but only 24 allowed throughout the remaining 3 quarters. What did you notice or feel like was the biggest difference in how your team played defensively in that first quarter compared to those final 3?
You mean, are you asking for what changes?
Yeah, what do you feel like changed within what you saw and how they played?
Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure before I went off a cliff. Focus, discipline, purpose. I felt like we looked lethargic would be the word that I would use. And I don't think it was that we were lethargic. I think we just looked it. We weren't communicating. It felt like we were a step slow to everything. I don't think that has anything to do with how we were physically prepared. I think that was all mental to me because it changed like that, right? So that's what I mean by that being a really good lesson. But that can't happen, and it certainly can't happen for an entire quarter, right? That's unacceptable. But it's not anything physical. We didn't change our defense. I didn't really sub a lot. I mean, I put a couple people in there, but it was just simply focusing and being more disciplined on what we were trying to do and then actually doing it, being purposeful with it. That's it.
All right, we got last round of questions. We got Ayanna Moore, Vandy Sports. Go ahead.
You referenced being in the Disney world of college basketball. Geno Auriemma tonight set the record for the most wins in NCAA college basketball history. Just what are your initial thoughts hearing that, and how can you reflect on maybe your time at UConn and what you learned from Coach Auriemma?
Oof. 40 years. I was like 6 years old when he started coaching there. And I remember when I got there as a player, Tennessee was the big dog, right? So Pat Summitt was there. I don't know if you guys know this, but my mom was an All-American basketball player. She played at the University of North Carolina, and one of her closest friends was Pat Summitt because they played in the World University Games. So get a little history lesson. I know you guys got to go home, but the women's basketball wasn't an Olympic sport until I think 1976. So before that, they played in the World University Games, and my mom played and got a silver medal with Pat Summitt, so they became friends. And the only reason she didn't play in the first Olympics was because she was pregnant with me, or close to pregnant with me. So I hear about that a lot. But it's really cool because when I was young, Pat started recruiting me, and now I grew up in North Carolina, so UNC had just won the national championship with Charlotte Smith. You guys, this is like way long ago. But there was something about my conversations with Coach Auriemma. Like, I think everyone thought I was either going to go to Tennessee or North Carolina because of my mom and the history there. And Tennessee had won like eight or nine, maybe, national championships, 8, I think. And it wasn't even a hard decision because Coach Auriemma was the most honest with me that any coach had ever been. And I think that's molded not only me as a player, but the opportunity to play there for him changed my life because I needed somebody to be as hard on me as he was, to teach me how to be great, to show me how to be resilient, to show me how to be a team player because I was very selfish and stubborn as a young kid, and I had a lot that I needed to learn. So thankfully, I made a really good choice, and I went there and played for him. And I remember as a player, we celebrated his 450th win. And now he has over 1,200. That is wild to me. It's hard to even fathom. But when I went back as a coach, I think sometimes the thinking that can get lost when you watch us coach and you talk about, like, Coach Auriemma, you see him on the sidelines, he's very fiery, and the success that he's had for so long is unprecedented. But the thing that sticks out to me about him is how much he cares. And when your job as a coach is to win, you guys think about that's our livelihood. Like, you have to win. You see it every day. People get fired left and right, mid-season here. Like, and the way that the sport has changed and the landscape has changed, and for him to do what he's done year in and year out for 40 years. One of our recruiting pitches, y'all, since 1988, every team that's gone to UConn, or every player that's gone to UConn has been to at least one Final Four. Come on. Think about that for a second. So how can you not celebrate that? You know, competitor or not. And the cool thing for me was that I got to peek behind the curtain for almost 20 years. And, you know, people talk about it being a machine and all that. Yeah, it is. But those people care. And they get the best out of their players. They have people that come in, coaches and staff members, year in and year out, that just are really special. And for them to do what they've done is a testament to great leadership, great work ethic, and, you know, say what you want to say, but he's the best coach in the history of our game.
Well, Coach, congratulations. I have you as a part of 626 of those wins with Coach Auriemma. So,
wow, really?
Yeah, 626 of them. So.
Okay, 626 at Vanderbilt. Let's aim for that, okay? Yes. Thank you.